Hi my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So I've been thinking a lot about the skeleton crew leaks from the other day, the connections to Ahsoka, Thrawn, the Mandalorian, and so on, but this all led me to remember an interview that Jude Law gave over the summer with Variety, where he teases that skeleton crew does have some pretty huge legacy characters in it. He said he couldn't believe the characters who were surrounding him on set. Now this is so exciting, and it could mean a range of known characters who are still alive after the Battle of Andor. Just like the Mandalorian's skeleton crew takes place in the years following Return of the Jedi, but right now, we still have no idea who Jude Law himself is playing. In spite of all the rumours for the show, not a single one indicates the identity of the main character. We do have one promotional image though from Star Wars Celebration, and from that we can deduce he's human and not an alien. He's got an awesome outfit, and he looks to me to be a smuggler, at the right place at the right time, and he might help these children find their way home. And in recapping all of this, I started thinking about what the Mandoverse is trying to achieve, the advancement of Thrawn's story, Star Wars Rebels, and maybe a kind of retelling of Heir to the Empire. Not word for word of course, but using elements of it with these characters. And then I remembered, there's one character who could play into all of this, who we don't speak about enough.
Hello, what have we here?
A character who's still scheduled to get his own series, Lando Calrissian. My speculation is that the Lando series is going to be a Mandalorian spin-off, set during the years following episode 6, and it might overlap with Skeleton Crew. After all, in the Zahn trilogy, the first Zahn trilogy, which is Star Wars Legends, and in the post-Return of the Jedi time period in both canon and Legends, Lando played a central role. I'll go into this in just a moment, but what if Lando Calrissian is one of the characters that Jude Law is talking about, and presumably that means Donald Glover and not Billy D. Williams. Now, you might be wondering, what in the ever-loving jibber-jabber does Lando have to do with the story? Well, let's dive into it. Following the Battle of Andor, as we saw in episode 6, the rebellion was strong and the New Republic was born thereafter. Following Palpatine's death, Operation Cinder was implemented. This was a campaign that Palpatine prepared in the event of his death, the first stage of his contingency. To punish the Empire for not protecting him and from not preventing his death, he ordered the bombardment of several worlds, and this included his home planet of Naboo. Thankfully though, Naboo was saved thanks to Princess Leia and several rebels who learned about what was about to go down and got there in time. And even though the rebellion won the Battle of Andor, they still would face many challenges as they sought to restore the Republic. Now, a group of Imperials from Inferno Squad surrendered to the rebels, and Lando Calrissian discussed matters with Iden Versio, their leader. Lando offered to let them go free, so long as they helped to stop Operation Cinder, and so Iden and Del Meeko took that option and helped Lando on Naboo. Lando then went on 2 missions, one to the planet of Solace, the homeworld of Nien Nunb, and then aided in the liberation of Cloud City on Bespin with the help of Lobot. And then one day, while stopping off to refuel the Falcon, Embo, who we see in the Clone Wars, boarded the ship and attempted to claim a bounty on Calrissian for the destruction of the second Death Star. Lando killed Embo on the spot, and with his friend Nien Nunb, they departed and left Embo's body at the station. Now, during the time of The Mandalorian, there is so much unknown about what Lando was up to. He did take over Calrissian Enterprises, which manufactured droids for service on Cloud City. He also took a couple of missions on Chandrila and Kashyyyk, before years later retiring from New Republic service when he went in search of his daughter, which we read about in Shadow of the Sith, but that's much further down the timeline. But as you can see, my dear friends, there are still many missing years where Lando was still in the service of the New Republic, and in Legends, his story is so much more expansive at this time. He was one of the rebels who investigated Thrawn's whereabouts, as well as personally overseeing a mission to learn if rumours of the Emperor's cloning project were true. This could all play into the Mandalorian, and because there's so many missing years, they can finally explain to us what Lando was up to. He is such an iconic classic character, and I think Donald Glover deserves to reprise the role. I wonder, since the Mandalorian is exploring Moff Gideon and the Remnant's cloning projects, if Lando plays into Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's plan. An encouraging sign is that Lando Calrissian has always been one of Dave Filoni's favourite characters. He brought him into Star Wars Rebels, and to this end, I think we will see other characters from those shows too. And if Jude Law's character is playing a smuggler of sorts, it would make sense that he knows or has heard of Lando. All in all, I must say that Skeleton Crew really excites me above most shows. It's right up there on par with Andor and Ahsoka, but I should say that it's probably going to be a rather experimental series, introducing some weird and wonderful Star Wars concepts, but if done well, it could absolutely be one of the most awesome Star Wars Disney Plus additions. And as we get ever closer to 2023 and The Mandalorian's 3rd season, we're probably going to be hearing a lot more about it. And so now, my dear friends, a tidbit for the Acolyte. Given the set leaks from the other day, where we saw a Wookiee Jedi, Lee Jung-jae in High Republic Jedi costume, and so on, a question I've explored before has re-emerged. Will we see Yoda in the Acolyte? It would make a lot of sense, because we're being shown the final years of the High Republic, where Yoda is such a crucial Jedi Master at this time. Well, a keen-eyed viewer has connected a few dots. A puppet depicting a High Republic Yoda featured on the High Republic panel has also featured in videos on the official Star Wars YouTube page, and it looks like it may have been created and designed with the Acolyte in mind, kind of like a prototype. His aesthetic is very different to what he looks like in the original trilogy, but he does have a hint of prequel Yoda to him, and this difference is expected because obviously he's a century and a half younger here, so it's natural, but it would be cool if that is the case, and this is how he's going to look in the show. I can't imagine Leslie Headland is going to leave him out, so I think it's very much a certainty that we're either going to see Yoda or hear allusions to him in the show. And so finally, my dear friends, have you missed talking about the Andor series? Because I certainly have. Let's discuss a new interview by IndieWire with Dedra Meero actress Denise Gough. How Andor created the best Star Wars villain in years. Of course, this is subjective, but the writing in the Andor series was phenomenal, and Dedra Meero was a great character. While speaking of writing, IndieWire say, in a 20-minute conversation with Denise Gough, she mentions the show's writing exactly 7 times. The actors know when writing is good and when it's bad, and in the Andor series, at least when it comes to the writing, was absolutely perfect. This is what she said: "It's like a great play. Get out of the way, don't overthink it, don't try and manage things or get in front of it, you let it carry you along." And Gilroy discovered Denise Gough in a theatre, so her likening her performance as Dedra Meero to a play is pretty appropriate. At the heart of this article is the fact that Dedra Meero was a great character because she was so well written, but Denise Gough also says one of the secrets is that she got to do Dedra the way she wanted. Gilroy basically left it up to her, and the same applies to Toby Haynes when he was directing her. This is what she said: "I was so excited to do that. I always like to offer up a first take without direction initially, just my gut instinct. I was furious that they didn't clap at the end of it. I was like, this is theatre, you're watching theatre." But Denise Gough got used to the fact this is a TV show, and she added she has so much respect for the process, but for a role like Dedra, she didn't want to over-prepare. In fact, a lot of what we see is the first take. We've covered a lot of what she says in the rest of this interview in a different video. She's repeated a lot of things across various interviews, but this one was really interesting, hearing the process of how Dedra Meero came about, and she certainly is one of the best Star Wars villains of the Disney era, although first place in my opinion goes to Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon. And if you want to hear his latest comments on The Mandalorian Season 3, then click on this video here. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always.